Hi, this is Carl Polachek, and this is another SOP video for managed service providers. Today I want to talk about massaging your service board. I teach a class on managing your service board, and one of the things we cover in there is how to massage the service board. What does that mean? Well, here's the deal. Service boards can become out of control if they're not managed properly. So when it's time that you're going to take control of your service board and actually manage it, one of the things you have to do is go through and look at all the issues, all the problems, all of the tickets, and make sure everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be. Many times I take on new coaching clients and have a very similar experience, which is that their service board is out of control and there's only one person to blame. It's usually the owner, but when it's not, it's the service manager. So here's what happens, is that somehow somebody becomes a choke point for that service board, and so things don't get completed because they're waiting for somebody to do something. It might be that the way that your tracking system is, things go through your service board and they get stuck waiting for somebody to approve the ticket notes, approve the time, approve the invoicing, right? So what happens is these things get older and older and older. Very often they get stuck not being invoiced. And then what happens is some issues go away. Some tickets become irrelevant. And so you got a lot of junk in your service board, and you need to clear that out, because it's very important. Your service manager or service coordinator should be able to look at your service board and literally know within 60 seconds the state of your service board, whether it's healthy, whether things are moving the way they're supposed to be, whether tickets are flying through the system or getting clogged up, whether you have too many priority 1 tickets or too many tickets for a specific client. All of that knowledge is very easy to gain if your service board is properly managed. Here's what I mean by that. First of all, you take that junky service board, and I've had people who've literally had 2,000 tickets in their system that were not real, in the sense that some of them were for clients who just didn't exist anymore. Some of those tickets were over a year old, but nobody's screaming, nobody cares. So clearly that issue isn't an issue anymore. A bunch of them are waiting for invoicing, a bunch of them are waiting for time approval, and so forth and so on. So there's 2 steps to this process. The first is what I call a deep issue massage. So a deep issue massage is that somebody has to have the project of sitting down, opening every single ticket. Does it have the right status? Does it have the right client? Does it have the right individual contact? Does it have the right machine? Right, on and on and on. All the little pieces of that ticket need to be correct, including, is the time correct and is the status correct? And if the status is that it's finished or completed, or to be honest, some of them are just garbage at this point, just close it and get it off the board. So sometimes if you've got a huge backlog of a messed up board, it's a big enough project, somebody's going to have to take maybe an hour a day for a week, or they're going to take a day out of every week for a month and just, beat that thing down, get control of that monster and get it under control. Once you're done and everything's clean, then your service board is going to be beautiful. Every ticket is going to be real. Every ticket is going to be on the right contract and have the right status, and on and on and on. It's going to be exactly the way it's supposed to be. Once that happens, then you move to step number 2, which is every single day, the service manager, service coordinator needs to be able to open that board, look at it, and know where things are. So every day they need to see which tickets came into the system, which tickets went out of the system. They need to check their backlog. Now, the backlog is simply the total number of hours inside your system. And backlog has this negative connotation. We're going to talk about that a little bit next week, but here's the deal. Backlog is not your enemy. Backlog means you get to keep your job. You get to keep the doors open and stay in business. So you've got to have a backlog. But the question is, given the number of technicians you have, what's a reasonable backlog? Now, almost everybody watching this video cannot tell me off the top of their heads, within 10%, what your backlog is. Is it 50 hours, 200 hours, 3,000 hours? What's your backlog? Most people have no idea. And to me, that's a good indicator that you're not managing your service board. Your service board is completely out of control. So managing the service board means you have some good idea about that backlog. So that's something that can happen every single day, and it literally takes 60 seconds. Step number 3 is at least once a week, you need to go through massaging the service board. So a regular massage of the service board. And to be honest, once you get really, really good, this can take 5 minutes, and you can do it every day. A really good massaging of the service board simply means you sort everything by client. Do you have one client that's got too many tickets? Sort everything by priority. Do you have too many priority 1 or priority 2 high priority tickets? Sort everything by status. Is everything in the right status, and does it look like it's supposed to be there? Sort everything by hours and see if you have any tickets that look like they need a lot of attention, need a lot of hours, but they're not getting it, right? The point is you just sort it every which way you can, by every variable you can think of, and that way you just get this like 360-degree view of what's really going on inside your service board. Once you get to that point, it becomes easier and easier and easier to make that check day after day after day, and your service board gets clean, stays clean, and becomes beautiful because it becomes part of the successful management of your entire company. I know that's a lot of work, but it's got to be done. The sooner you get started, the sooner you'll be finished. For Small Biz Thoughts, this is Carl Polachek wishing you the best of luck in your managed service business.
Please like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell so you can be notified when we post a new video.